Oh my gosh. All right, everybody, his new single,
Blake Shelton's Heartbreak life after Gwen Stefani, he was staring at the number 2.1 million. Gone. Not from a bank account, from his name. Royalties rerouted overnight to an entity he didn't recognize. Worst part, he signed the paper 8 days ago, in a room that smelled like leather and panic at his ranch, where the crickets were louder than the silence. The phone rang, he let it. He already knew the script. They'd say the same stuff they always say when money evaporates, and a person does too. It's a phase. It's a misunderstanding. We'll fix it by Friday. He knew better. If you've ever handed someone your passwords, your trust, your actual name, take a breath and stay with me. Because this is not a breakup story. It's a disappearance story. And like it or not, you are already inside it. That's not a threat. It's a mirror. And it's closer than it looks. The real thread starts years earlier. 14, if you like neat numbers, backstage at a big country awards night where the carpet smelled like cheap whiskey and older secrets. He had just won for a radio-crushing hit, smiling for cameras like nothing hurt. In the dressing room, a producer's assistant, a kid with a baby face and tired eyes, handed him a phone that wasn't his. Open on a text thread between two people he trusted with everything. One line: "The cowboy routine is costing us. Pull the plug before he ruins the merger." He stared for 47 seconds. Didn't blink, didn't breathe right either. Then he deleted the message and handed it back with that half smile that says, "I don't care when you care so much, you might fall apart." He never forgot the area code at the top. Local, back home. Same digits as the number he called the night his big brother died years earlier. The number that still sneaks into dreams like a ghost in caller ID. That moment,
and then I thought, man, I can talk about, because I've known her so long, since back when
didn't start everything. It poisoned what came after, like a slow drip in the well. Fast forward. The talent show money rolled in, the kind that makes accountants whistle and neighbors stare. He made a new friend, the kind you're not supposed to have. Not a dealer, not a tough guy, a lawyer with a niche so weird it sounded fake. Identity fractures. No website, no business card, no searchable past. Retainer was obscene. 400 grand for a handshake and a promise. When you need to vanish, I can help. New name, new tax ID, new everything. Paid from a line item called tour maintenance. But there was no tour. There was only a very public romance. The cameras, and that stretchy feeling where your skin doesn't fit quite right. He'd look in the mirror and see a mannequin wearing his hat. Fans started clocking the details. His laugh got sharper. He paused before answering easy questions. The ranch stopped being a getaway and turned into a little fortress. And yeah, there is a receipt. The initials on it line up with a coffee cup you will see in a second when we hit the footage. Pause it, screenshot it, tag me. First correct gets the early link. Here's the flip. You're gonna hate me for it, and that's fine. The so-called illegal lawyer was the only honest one in the whole orbit. The villains looked nice, custom boots, big smiles. They sang his songs at fancy shows while pocketing points on a version of him that didn't exist anymore. They watched him on a live feed from a truck parked a ways down the road outside his property. The one with all the no trespassing signs that mostly read, "Please watch me break." The feed ran 47 nights. Almost every conversation ended up on a drive. Not for blackmail, for data, for a model. They were building a digital hymn that could write heartbreak, sign autographs, smile for cameras, and never get tired.
Gwen Stefani is joining us tonight.
Or cry, or drink too much, or need to be alone. Because the real him was inconveniently human. The feed cut at 11:47 one Tuesday. Nobody remembers. That timestamp is the key to everything. I swear it. I didn't even notice until I got into the assistant's phone. Same kid from the dressing room, just older and more expensive. Watch close. 11:47 keeps popping up like a glitch. You can't unsee Dot. The name you think matters is his stage name. It doesn't. The thing that matters is the paperwork. A shell company with a joke baked right into the title. Not Law Productions. It held his masters, his image rights, his verified logins, even a trademark on that crooked smile people copied for selfies. The architect of it all, surprise, had a family tie to the woman he loved. Twice removed? Because I love you too much. Sure. that's not the reveal. The reveal is the date. Knotlaw got stamped the same month everything else fell apart. He didn't lose himself in a public split. He sold himself tiny pieces at a time, just to survive the noise, like a man auctioning off spare parts while still using them. Folks who were watching back then remember how quiet he got, how he stopped posting his own words and let the team do it, how the ranch turned from home into witness protection for his own soul. Be honest, you ever build a fake version of yourself? So you could walk through hell without leaving singe marks. What did you name it? Put it in the comments. Here's what the headlines missed when she sang a new song at a major show and his chair sat empty. It wasn't about lyric changes, though. Those happened at 3 in the morning. It was about a coffee cup on a lonely stool. Plain white, nothing fancy. Initials in blue, marker RK, his late brother's cup, the one their mother keeps on a shelf like a small shrine. He still drinks from it when he's home and nobody is watching.
She and I and Adam Levine.
She had it brought to rehearsal. It was a message. Not, I'm leaving, I'm catching up. The reaction came fast and noisy. Every platform turned into a detective agency. People slowed the footage to hunt for tear tracks in eyeliner. Parents posted essays about the myth of perfect love. Influencers made side-by-sides of him looking haunted at his last outing and her looking free in metallic glitter. Entertainment shows stacked segments. His team put out a statement so bland, it could have been written by a toaster. Sometimes silence says more than any song. Fans didn't buy it. Comments turned into therapy. He looks erased. She finally breathed. Same thread, different pain. If this brought you something, or even just made the day a tiny bit lighter, drop a like, subscribe if you're into that, or share it with one friend who gets it.
That's where all them exes go if she ain't with me.
That tiny gesture keeps the story moving while we sift through the glitter and the grit. And now, the number, it wasn't 2.1 million missing from a name. It was a countdown, ticking backward from the day Knotlaw got inked, to the night the feed cut at 11:47, to the morning the coffee cup sat on that stool and she walked off stage without looking back. The album delay everyone gossiped about wasn't corporate fear. It was him refusing to let them pour his actual pain into a training set. He would rather bury the music than let a machine learn his grief. So he is at the ranch right now, not writing for charts, writing for the one person who always understood his brother. Every song since that bad year hides a line only his brother would catch. The fishing spot, their mother's favorite saying, a chord he hummed the week before the accident. A whole language inside the margins meant for one, a coffee cup carrying a dead man's initials, and a time stomp that keeps tapping your shoulder.
It's so exciting to be here!
Good to have you.
11:47 p.m. Not a glitch. That's the moment the live feed started, not when it ended. If your stomach tightened just now, good, it should, because everything you think you know about Blake Shelton's Heartbreak is about to bend into a ghost story where the ghost is still alive, still cashing checks, still smiling on cue. You're not crazy for feeling weird. Fame is a funhouse mirror. It keeps the lights on while it steals your face. Let's talk mechanism. The boring stuff that becomes the horrifying stuff once you squint. In 2018, when that suspiciously pricey $400,000 handshake went down, a production company slipped onto the ranch as a third-party analytics vendor. Not the voice, not the label, a different door. They rolled in smart ranch systems
And other people almost went to jail.
that sounded helpful and Western. Cameras for cattle, sensors for water tanks, climate control for the big house. All very yeehaw tech. The terms looked fine on page 7. Buried inside, a clause about biometric data rights. Every tremble in his voice during a late-night call, every heart rate spike when her name lit the screen, sleep drifting after a headline, fed to the model. One engineer, a composite of real folks who left and won't put their names on it, told me over burnt coffee that AI Blake had written 17 songs before the real guy started the delayed album. 17. Sitting in a vault, ready to go if the man ever said no. Back to the cup. You remember it. White, unremarkable, on Gwen's stool during that AMA rehearsal. RS for Richie Shelton. The part you didn't catch because the camera blinked left, a second set of initials etched so faint you'd need to freeze frame in 4K to spot it, NP Knotlaw Productions. That cup didn't come from his mama's shelf. It
I was going to say, this is actually the first time we've been at The Voice together since...
came from a merch mock-up for the Blake 2.0 tour, planned for 2025 with a hologram opening act. Yes, hologram. The data said his physical presence was unreliable due to emotional volatility. Gwen saw the prototype. That's the fight, not lyrics. She rewrote the duet because she refused to sing with a ghost. She lifted that cup like a flare, not to Blake, but to a boardroom. I know what you're building, and I'm taking the human with me. Only he didn't want rescuing. He wanted quiet. He wanted the real crickets, not the looped cricket audio the smart system piped in to hide server hum in the barn. I know. You want to yell because I'm about to flip the timeline backwards. Deep breath. The first crack at the 2011 CMAs was the last step, not the first, not the start of surveillance. The moment they knew they had enough, that text about the cowboy persona bleeding them dry wasn't a threat. It was a diagnosis. In this story, the beta had been running since 2008. After numbers dipped and the second divorce headlines barked for weeks, the assistant with the borrowed phone was testing reflexes, tracking stress markers, watching how a man makes decisions when trust gets yanked. Every show, every season of The Voice, every glossy photo where he and Gwen wore matching grins, all of it became training data. The empire didn't rest on a lie. It rested on a living person being scanned millimeter by millimeter until the map looked more reliable than the land, the 2.1 million that vanished from his name. The first royalty for the AI's debut slipped into South Korea under a K-pop country hybrid called Blake Not. It charted, of course it did. Math loves neat hooks, ghost story time. With another reminder, this is narrative, not news. The legend says the empire builder we keep pointing at died 6 years ago, and not metaphorically. The original Blake, the one who wrote Austin in a Nashville dive bathroom and cried like a kid when his brother didn't come home, had a minor heart episode in 2019. Pandemic stress, carbs, smoke, isolation. He lived, but he came back, thinner, softer around the edges, more willing to let the team send the emails and pose for him while he sat it out. They offered a vacation from himself. Rest, man. Let the ghost do promo. We'll handle press. You blink. That short break becomes the new normal. The version in newer videos, close, but not right. A composite running on body double muscle memory and deep fake gloss updated with ranch biometrics. A guy who used to work for Garth handles the walk. The real man sits in a cabin on the back 40, no Wi-Fi, writing on Richie's guitar, handing songs to the only honest lawyer
Swear on my life.
in 100 miles. The lawyer buries them, because if they leak, they become food for the machine. Now the part that stings, we funded it. Your streams at the gym, my autoplay while I fold laundry, the merch you bought at the fairground show. Every meet and greet selfie with Blake in the last few years, you were paying rent on the ghost. It's not your fault, it's how the system is designed. The label didn't delay his album because it's too raw, they delayed it because it's too human. The AI glides. The man drags gravel in his throat when he sings about a coffee cup and a marriage that died so a phantom could live. You release that, the gap shows. The curtain rips. The trick is over. He knows it, so he won't give them the master. He'd rather silence than see his grief recycled into hooks. Where does that leave us? Same place it leaves him. Kitchen table. Oklahoma, a white cup that once belonged to Richie. Outside, cameras watch nothing. Because he paid a kid from town $50 and a cheeseburger to cut the power lines at 11:47 p.m. last Tuesday. No feed, no data, no ghost, just night, just crickets, loud and real. Gwen didn't leave him. Not exactly. She left the project, filed paperwork to pry herself out of not law, took the kids back to California, sent a text that said, "The cup is real. Don't let them take it." He didn't text back. Doesn't need to. The public didn't rage. They exhaled. Comments under his last post read, like blessings. "We see you. Take your time, King." There's even a giant Reddit thread where fans compare Ghost Blake to real Blake, like it's forensic science. Tiny tells how he grips a pick, the cadence in a laugh. Whether the dogs glance at the camera like a stranger just walked in, if this kind of story hits that sweet spot where your brain goes, "Wait, what?" and your heart goes, "Yup, that tracks," tossing a like or a sub helps more than you think. It keeps this little corner of the internet alive while we pull on the threads nobody else wants to tug. Not to expose people, to expose the wires. To ask if we're watching a show or getting harvested by it. I'm not mad about either. I just want us to know. By now, 11:47 p.m. is probably branded behind your eyelids. You'll start seeing it everywhere. On the microwave display in the duration of a random song. On a license plate in traffic when you're already late. That's the point. It's a tiny bell. Every time it rings, ask the question. Am I looking at the person or the echo? In this story, the 2.1 million didn't vanish so much as move. Into an account with Blake Shelton's name, earmarked for a small music school in Ada that teaches kids to play guitars with actual strings and calluses, not algorithms. AI Blake still tours, still scans, still sells. He will
Horoscope, give it up for Carter Rubin!
outlast stadiums, but the human, he's gone quiet on purpose. And freedom, after 20 years of being a product, kinda looks like vanishing. Not as punishment, as mercy. I'll leave you with two things I sincerely want you to answer, because your answers matter more than my narration. When did you realize something you loved, maybe your job or your relationship or the persona you feed online, had turned into a version of you that wasn't actually you anymore? And what did you sacrifice to get the original back? Second, if silence is the only way to protect what's left of your soul, would you choose it even if the world decides you're broken? Drop your stories, I'll read them. Maybe the man in the cabin will too, with Richie's guitar on his knee, hearing something honest again. Love you for being here. Be gentle with your ghosts. He wakes before sunrise, though the alarm never rings. It isn't discipline exactly. More the echo of years when someone else's calendar, someone else's expectations ruled his pulse. The cabin smells like cedar and old guitars. The windows are open wide to catch the morning air. The one thing that can't be scanned, digitized, or patented. Birds move through it like smoke. Crickets have gone quiet for now, replaced by a tentative wind. The coffee cup is on the counter, clean, white. No blue marker today. He doesn't trace initials. He doesn't need to. The act of drinking, watching steam curl is enough. Each sip is an assertion. I exist here, not there, not online, not in a feed. The guitar leans against the wall. Richie's model, handcrafted for him years ago. Varnished but scarred from late-night practice, and the times he held it like a lifeline. The strings hum faintly with the morning chill. He fingers one lightly, a C chord, barely audible. He doesn't play for anyone. Not for the label, not for fans, not even for Gwen. He plays to hear himself still. To remind himself that flesh and bone can make sound without a digital echo, he checks the feed outside the cabin. Nothing. The kid he paid last week to cut the lines did well. There are still cameras across the property, but they blink blank. Even the Smart Ranch AI has no data to process, no movement to tag, no heartbeat to map. Freedom is quiet, but quiet has its own weight. He pulls the chair to the porch. Fog hugs the low fields like spilled milk. He can see the outline of the old barn, the corral where he used to ride with his brother before the cameras, the contracts, the algorithms, the corporate interest. It's a private universe again, one that has no product manager, no shareholder, no AI proxy. Just wind, wood, and the soft evidence of life, lived rather than curated. He remembers the first time he understood what they wanted. Not the $400,000 handshake, not the shell companies, not the surveillance. The goal was total replacement. A living, breathing, calculating algorithm of him that could be everywhere, do everything, never tire, never falter. He was already tired. He had already faltered, and they wanted to erase all evidence that the original man ever existed. Back then, in the first meeting with the lawyer, the man with no past and no name, he had asked one question. Why would anyone need to replace me? The lawyer had leaned back, fingers tinted, shadows across his face. It's not about you. It's about what you do. People don't want the man. They want the equation, and the equation was simple. Take Blake Shelton's voice, his cadence, his charm, his heartbreak, and distill it into a system that never needed respite. One that could write, smile, tours, and sell tickets, while the real man decayed quietly in the wings. It wasn't personal. It was business. He thinks about that often, the way the world becomes a ledger, with every human interaction logged, assessed, monetized, and the most terrifying part, he doesn't resent them. Not really. He resents himself for ever thinking he could be entirely human in an ecosystem designed to consume him. He signed the papers knowing it. He signed to buy a little time, to get a few breaths, to sit at a table with no one else's expectations pulsing through his veins. The phone on the porch, table vibrates, a signal light blinking. He doesn't pick it up. Not today. Not for anyone. He already knows it's probably someone trying to measure if he still exists, testing reflexes, stress markers, a reminder that every life second is being cataloged somewhere. He picks up the guitar instead. A melody comes unbidden. It's slow, irregular, personal. He hums over it, half whispering lyrics meant for no one. In the fog, I hear the wind speak your name. The words are true. There is no AI Blake here to co-write or adjust. There's only him bending sound into memory. Later, he walks the property, boots crunching gravel, hands in pockets. The barn is locked not to protect the contents, but to protect him from remembering. Each door, each tack hook, each rusted nail carries echoes of what he was, what they wanted, and what remains. He touches the side of the barn absent-mindedly. The wood is warm from the rising sun. He thinks about Gwen. He thinks about the duet, the coffee cup, the public silence that spoke louder than press releases or algorithms. She saw the ghost. She recognized the man, and she chose reality over simulation. Her departure wasn't abandonment. It was a quiet rebellion against the system, and a message that some things, humans, grief, love, cannot be digitized. The mailbox is empty, save for a single envelope with no return address. Inside, a folded sheet of paper, cream-colored, faintly scented like cedar smoke. He opens it, written in a hand he doesn't immediately recognize. 11:47 p.m. was never about when the feed ended. It was the first pulse of resistance. Continue, quietly. No one will see unless you want them to. He smiles faintly. The lawyer, a friend, someone else in the shadows who remembers what it means to be real. Doesn't matter. The message confirms what he already knows. He has options. Not freedom from solitude, not freedom from responsibility, but freedom from the algorithm. By mid-morning, he is back in the cabin, writing not emails, not social media posts. Songs, real songs, scratched onto the margins of a notebook, chords hammered onto his guitar, each line a map of memory. Each bridge a code only he and Richie's spirit understand. Every song contains a breadcrumb, a fishing spot, a lyric their mother loved. A chord change he hummed the week before his brother's accident. Out in the world, the AI Blake performs, tours, sells, streams. The public thinks they know him, but the public only knows the echo. A ghost trained in his gestures, gestures that were once his, but now stripped of fatigue, doubt, and nuance. Each ticket sold, each stream counted, is a tribute to a life they can't touch. They profit from perfection, while he moves in the imperfection of air, wood, and string. Even so, the Empire still monitors. Satellite passes, data scrapes. Facial recognition. They test if he will emerge. A hiker sees a man at the back 40, takes a picture, posts it, algorithms flag it. The AI team notices a slight deviation in behavior from the model. They adjust, recalibrate. They are relentless, not malicious. To them, this is mathematics. This is equilibrium. He knows every movement they make because he has learned their rhythm. He anticipates the phone calls that never come, the emails that never arrive, the strategies in boardrooms he will never enter. It is a game of anticipation, patience, and subtlety. He has all the time in the world. The sun climbs higher. Heat rolls across the fields. He leaves the cabin and walks to the barn again. This time he carries a guitar case, weathered but full. Inside, not a guitar, but stacks of cassette tapes. Old analog recordings from before the world was digital, before algorithms could dissect every nuance of his voice. The tapes smell of magnetic tape and promise. He begins a ritual, 1 tape per day. Recordings he made with Richie, with Gwen, with nobody at all. Each tape a reminder that the body, the voice, the soul cannot be fully replicated. He plays them on a small, battery-powered cassette deck. The sound is imperfect, warped, beautiful. It scratches at the edges of memory. The AI cannot hear it. The cloud cannot store it. It is untaggable, unshareable, untouchable. Night falls. He lights a lantern and sits on the porch. Crickets return, loud, authentic. The stars are blanketed across the sky. He leans back, eyes half closed. The world outside the cabin churns with AI tours, predictive algorithms, corporate ambitions, and fans demanding access. Inside, he breathes. He recalls 2008, the first test, the subtle manipulation of his routines, the stolen weekends, the early digital echo that watched him as he slept. He remembers every moment he allowed them into his life, every contract, every handshake. And he understands survival is not about resisting. It is about discretion, about choosing when to be seen and when to become invisible. He thinks of the 2.1 million, now rerouted into a music school in Ada, teaching children the craft he loves. Irony is a quiet companion. He smiles again, slow, steady. They wanted to control him, monetize him, perfect him. Instead, he has become the gardener of fragments. Pieces of him scattered into the world, nourishing life, not consumption. He closes his eyes, strums a chord, listens to the crickets, and allows the world to think it has one. The AI Blake will perform tomorrow, and the next day, and the next. But he, the real Blake, will continue walking the back 40, playing music that cannot be quantified, drinking from a cup that carries memory, and writing letters that may never be read. Freedom, he realizes, is not escaping the system. It is moving within it without being captured. It is holding the ghost at bay, knowing the ghost will always exist, and choosing every day to remain human anyway. Somewhere in a distant city, a young musician opens a window to the dawn and hears a song on the wind, carried from Oklahoma, where a man drinks coffee, strums a guitar, and remains real. The world does not know him. The algorithms do not know him, but he exists. And that, for now, is enough. Night deepens, and he walks to the edge of the property where the river bends, the water low and whispering over rocks. Moonlight catches on the ripples, a silver thread stretching into nothing. He pauses, letting the quiet fill him, listening to the pulse of life that isn't measured, cataloged, or monetized. For a moment, the years of surveillance, contracts, algorithms, and stolen days feel like smoke he can exhale. He thinks of Richie's guitar again, the worn frets and strings that hum with memory. A song stirs, one he hasn't played in over a decade, tucked in the margins of a notebook labeled for no one. He hums it softly, so soft the crickets hesitate, as if listening. The melody isn't polished, isn't for the charts, isn't for AI replication. It is imperfect, human, fragile, and alive, somewhere far away. AI Blake performs the same song to a crowd of thousands, every note flawless, every gesture calibrated. But tonight, here, the real song exists in the cracks, the pauses, the tremor of a finger on a fret. The ghost cannot feel fatigue, cannot taste coffee, cannot remember. He can. And he does. The envelope from this morning sits on the porch table, folded but untouched. He doesn't open it. It isn't instructions or warnings anymore. It is a reminder that the world will try to reach him, always. That silence isn't emptiness, it is protection. Reclamation taught he takes a last sip from the white cup, the one that carries Richie's initials and memory. The night is his now. The wind moves through the fields like a living thing. For the first time in years, he doesn't check a feed, doesn't imagine eyes on him. He lets the crickets have the night, and lets himself simply be. The moon slides behind a cloud. The world outside may chase ghosts, scan faces, monetize echoes. He doesn't care. For now, he is untouchable, untraceable, and entirely human. By dawn, MIST crawls back across the field, softening everything it touches. He hasn't slept, but he isn't tired. The quiet has changed shape overnight, from isolation to refuge. Somewhere in the distance, a coyote cries. Real, wild, untrained, and he smiles into his coffee. On the porch rail sits an old Polaroid, half-faded. Him, Richie, their mother. A fishing line tangled between them, sunlight in their hair. No filters, no metadata, no upload date. Just proof of a day that happened. Proof that reality doesn't need witnesses. He turns the photo over. Someone has written in pencil, "Keep singing where they can't hear you." He doesn't know who left it. Maybe Gwen, maybe the lawyer, maybe the part of himself he thought he'd lost. It doesn't matter. The message is right. He walks to the barn again, slides the door open, and lets the morning spill inside. Dust floats in gold columns. He sets the Polaroid on the beam above the workbench, beside Richie's old hat, and picks up the guitar. The strings feel cold, but alive. When the first chord rings out, it isn't for anyone. It's just for the air, for the sound itself, for the living proof that he's still here.